My name is Terri Littlejohn, and I am joining you on a video today to discuss my son, Nicholas Dixon. Well, Nick played in the Shrine Bowl December 15th, 2018, and he was injured, ACL meniscus tear. January 11th, went in to have his surgery, and he passed away during the surgery from malignant hyperthermia. He was nicknamed Freight Train here in Spartanburg. He was a big boy, about 6 feet, 245, 250 pounds. And they used him to do different things. I don't know all the technical football terms, but he was very, he was one of the best players on his team, very looked at here in Spartanburg at Spartanburg High School. He had quite a few offers. The Citadel, right before he went back for his surgery, I don't know why he felt compelled to tell me that he had accepted his offer to Wingate. And I told him, I said, okay, well, we'll talk about it, when you come out. He said the night before he had accepted. So he did commit to Wingate, but he had about, I want to say about 9 offers altogether. Full scholarship, go to the NFL, and we knew he was going to go.
Yeah. If you're comfortable, can you talk a little bit about that day in the malignant hyperthermia episode?
Sure. Of course, my husband woke him up at about 5:30. I think we had to be there at 6. He took a shower. We arrived there at about 6 a.m. They took Nick back before me, I guess, to prep him for surgery. I went back there with him at about 7:15. The anesthesiologist had explained to me that he would get the CRNA started, and from there he would just, check in. So I had to step out for them to do the block in his leg. I came back in and I was with him till about 7:50, 7:55. It was supposed to be about a 3-hour surgery, so I was expecting to see him about 11, 11:30. Um, I kissed him, told him I loved him, and I'd be waiting on him. When he came out, I prayed, prayed for him, the surgeons, the hands operating on him. I sat out in the waiting room. I want to say about 9 something. I started hearing codes, but I didn't think it was for him. That went on for a while. Um, when I finally saw someone, it was about the time his surgery should have been over. And so I was just thinking I was going back to see him because the surgery was complete. Um, they came out and I saw the ortho doctor, and he pretty much was, upset. And I'm looking at him like, what's wrong? He said there's been a complication. Nick, he started explaining the image to me. He was very emotional. I want to say one of the nurses and the lady over the ambulatory services told him to compose himself. And I'm looking at him like, okay, what's the problem? And next thing I know, they were telling me that he had to get to the hospital. They were doing CPR on him. And when they wheeled Nick past me, they had the machine over his body doing the compressions. And he just shot past me. They put him in the emergency room in the ambulance, and we took him over to Spartanburg Regional Hospital where they worked on him for hours. But they were trying to get him stable enough to go to Duke, because I want to say they wanted to put him on an ECMO machine, but he just never made it. From what my lawyer says and the medical team, um, he was pretty much gone before he left ambulatory services, but Spartanburg Regional, I want to say, tried everything they could do to save him, but I guess the efforts were too late. From what we know, the CRNA was not familiar with malignant hyperthermia. About 15 minutes into surgery, Nicholas's CO2 started to elevate, and she was adjusting his pain medicine 15 minutes after that, it was higher, and so forth and so forth. And by the time I think it was realized what was going on, by the time the anesthesiologist came back, it was too much, too late. Nick enjoyed his family. He was a mama's boy, a homebody. Um, I could never get Nick to spend the night over anyone's house. He would always find a reason to call, maybe about 11, 12 o'clock, and he always had a stomach virus and a reason to come home. Other than family, he didn't spend the night with anyone. He was a homebody. He didn't run the street. Um, very, very smart. Everything he did, he excelled in. He was tested for gifted when we lived in Georgia in the second grade, and he was in gifted classes all the way up to high school. He was put into the like an early college, um, where he would have graduated from high school had he stayed with the I want to say an associate's degree. He would have had like two years left of college. Um, Very respectful, very well mannered. I couldn't have asked for a better first son. He was my third child, but my first boy. I had two girls before him. Um, he was one of seven children. Um, and we were just a close family, and it's really just devastating. This life just is not the same.
Yeah.
Nick was the life of the party. Um, Wherever he was, you were bound to laugh. I could not discipline the kids without him getting them out of it or making me laugh. Um, just an all around good kid. Stayed out of trouble. He got his first job that summer before his senior year at Wingstop. He worked. Um, couldn't have asked for a better son. Um, Nothing bad to say about him. As a young boy, he loved insects and bugs. Gosh, for a long time, he wanted to do something with snakes. I don't know what it's called. But then once he fell in love with football, the NFL was his goal. He did say, my oldest daughter is a criminal justice major, and he wanted to follow. He said if he didn't make it to the NFL, he would follow into the criminal justice field. So I've never had any issues with surgeries. I have an oldest daughter who has had some surgeries, and there's never been an issue. I never heard of MH until that day. Nick had a surgery his freshman year of high school. He had a shoulder surgery. Nothing. Came through fine, no issues. But now that I've been doing some research on my own, and I spoke to a genetics person, I'm not good with the medical terms and names, but she gave me a lot of information on MH and things that were probably happening, but we didn't know what it was. You know, Nick had some of the characteristics, or I want to say symptoms, but we didn't know at the time. So it's something that needs to have awareness brought to it. There's so much I want to do, you know, to help and save people, because I don't want this to happen to anyone else's child. It just, in the day of modern medicine, something like this shouldn't happen. Life is short. Love your loved ones while they're here. We never know. Um, I've learned that God is in control. I'm very protective over my children, and I never would have thought in a million years that I would have lost one to a surgery. It's always been one of my biggest fears was losing a child. Just love your loved ones, hang on to them, enjoy life. Nick loved life, and I'm so happy he got to experience a lot of things at a young age. You know, I took him to get his first tattoo at 17. He wanted a tattoo, but because he was such a good boy, why not? Um, he just loved life, and I can honestly say he lived in those 18 years. I don't think he traveled. He traveled, went on cruises. Just enjoy life, love your loved ones. Life is short. Um, I just don't want this to happen anymore. I just don't want it to happen anymore. This is a heartache that I can't put into words. You have your good days, you have your bad days. It gets better, but it's just life is never the same for any of us. We did everything together,
Yeah,
so I just want to make change and make sure that people are held accountable and know what they're doing when they
hmm,
take somebody's loved one into a OR.
definitely.
Trusting you with our lives, we're trusting you with the things that are most precious to us. So things like this shouldn't happen.